Hello and welcome to another Analysis Behind the News, where we provide the perspective that you can use to save American liberty and independence. We have 3 action items for you today, so please stay tuned. President Trump's news about imported steel and aluminum tariffs caused quite the stir last week. Globalists supporting Republicans like Speaker of the House Paul Ryan and Senator Lindsey Graham were quite critical of the tariffs, as well as globalists around the world. Go through the news and you'll find many scathing comments from members in the Council on Foreign Relations, among other fans of the World Trade Organization, who are looking at their options at retaliation, of course. Even former U.S. trade representatives are lambasting the president, as well as former Commerce Secretary Carlos Gutierrez, who served under President George W. Bush and is now chairman of the National Foreign Trade Council. Politico magazine reports that Gutierrez said the U.S. is just walking into an entanglement. It just becomes more of a complex web to get out of, he said. Trade wars are easy to get in, but difficult to get out of. As a very knowledgeable member of our staff said this morning, we've been in a trade war for at least 30 years. And guess what? We lost it. American manufacturing was decimated with NAFTA and with China's admission into the World Trade Organization. All of these are entanglements that our founding fathers so warned us against. The New American magazine posted an opinion piece from Pat Buchanan last week that mentioned the United States relied on tariffs to transform itself from an agricultural economy in 1800 into the mightiest manufacturing power on earth by 1900. So we should not be shying away from tariffs. In fact, due to these tariffs, David Burritt, who is the CEO of U.S. Steel, told CNBC last week that he is reopening a steel plant and calling back 500 employees in Granite City, Illinois. He also reiterated a point that CEO of the John Birch Society, Arthur Thompson, has said over and over for years, that we must have domestic manufacturing and production capacity, especially to be able to make defensive components, vehicles, and arms during a war. Currently, we import too many critical parts and components from foreign countries for our aircraft, vehicles, and weapon systems. Mr. Burritt said, if you cannot manufacture stuff, you cannot have a strong country. You can't protect yourself. If you take away the steel industry, you're going to be held hostage to those outside of this country, and you won't be able to take care of yourself anymore. Over at thenewamerican.com, C. Mitchell Shaw posted an article over the weekend entitled, Military Brass Warns of China Weaponizing Capital. He wrote, top Navy and Marine Corps officials warned the House Appropriations Defense Subcommittee Wednesday of the threat of China's tactic of buying up foreign land to win without fighting. Navy Secretary Richard Spencer called the move weaponizing capital. As The Hill reported, Spencer told lawmakers, when it comes to China, the bottom line there is the checkbook, adding not only in the dollars and cents that they are writing to support their military expansion and their technological work, but what they're doing around the globe, weaponizing capital. Spencer also said that with projects such as the funding of a port in Sri Lanka, undertaken so the Chinese Communist government will control the port, the open checkbook yielded by China keeps me up at night. Marine Corps Commandant General Robert Neller expressed the same sentiments, saying that while the Russians are a little more in your face and want to impose their will, Chinese communists are playing the long game by using big bags of cash to buy up airfields and ports to extend their reach. He added, they want to win without fighting. Well, the question to ask ourselves is, where did they get those big bags of cash? From American taxpayers and American consumers, due to our love of cheap imported items from China that has proliferated over the last 30 years. They take that money and invest it into American properties and even industries to cozy up to us, to get us to believe that they are a legitimate trading ally, when their ruling Communist Party has annually denounced the U.S. as its sworn enemy? Do we need to tell you the outcome of this suicidal pact? One interesting point in all of this was posted on Vox.com with the headline, "Why Trump Can Raise Steel Tariffs Without Congress." The subhead, "Congress has been shifting trade regulation powers to the executive branch for decades." Let me read you the opening paragraphs. "Raising taxes and tariffs is usually Congress's job. But on Thursday, President Donald Trump officially raised tariffs on steel and aluminum imports despite widespread opposition from Republicans in Congress. And it was completely in his right to do so. Trump signed an executive order calling on the Commerce Department to impose a 25% tariff on steel imports and a 10% tariff on aluminum. His reason? Foreign countries' current trade practices with the United States are a threat to national security. By law, that's enough of a reason to bypass Congress altogether." Indeed, according to Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, Congress has been given the power to collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. And a tariff is a duty to be imposed on either imports or exports. But Congress has given away some of that responsibility to the executive branch in at least 2 instances. According to CNN, they tell us that Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917 gave the president the authority to hit a nation with tariffs as high as he wants. Under that law, the president can restrict all types of trade during times of war. And the second law is the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977. It gives the president the authority to use tariffs on another country during a national emergency. Again, defining an emergency is vague. Losing manufacturing jobs to Mexico and China could certainly suffice as one. Also, according to CNN, courts have never rejected a president's reasoning. So, if Congress wants to yell and scream at someone, they should be directing their criticisms back at itself for diluting their constitutional powers to begin with. So to sum all this up, as a movement, globalists seek to diminish each and every country's sovereignty or independence, and they do so through the use of trade. If you were to look closely at recent trade agreements, you'll notice that only about 20% of the trade agreement covers trade, while the other 80% covers areas that have nothing to do with trade, but have everything to do with controlling its population and meddling in the affairs of sovereignty. So, action item number 1, let Trump know that he got this one right. Contact information for him is on our Stop NAFTA page at jbs.org/NAFTA. Then, action item number 2, let him and Congress know to get out of NAFTA instead of renegotiating. You'll find a pre-written email message at jbs.org/NAFTA as well. So email it to him, but follow up with a phone call too. And action item number 3, if you're not yet a member, join the John Birch Society to be part of a national concerted effort that has been protecting American liberties and independence for 60 years. So until next time, we'll see you then. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. Click here to watch more videos, and click here to visit our site.